Mark, welcome to Speaker Spotlight.
Morning.
It's great to speak to you and have you on board. You do so much work within dyslexia and the neurodiversity community. Can you tell us a bit about your work?
Yeah, for sure. So, it's where to start. So, I'm fortunate in that I've been working in the area of disability and neurodiversity for more years than I want to try and work out now. And so, I've got a few different hats that I wear, which are workplace needs consultant. So, one of the things that Neurobox does is work with organizations and employers to help them support their employees. And we do that on a number of different levels, from sort of a higher level type perspective where we're helping organizations look at their policies, sort of processes, all that sort of thing, right down to an individual level where we work with people doing workplace needs assessments, training, coaching, all that type of stuff. And I kind of sort of get involved in a lot of that myself as well. So I do a lot of workplace needs assessments, um, and I'm a coaching supervisor. So I sort of work with and support other coaches. And most of my time nowadays is spent really on the consultancy side of things. So that's, yeah, sorry, that wasn't a little bit about me, was it? That was quite a lot, sorry.
Oh, no, because there's so much to find out and so much to know. And Neurobox is a fantastic job for organisations of all different sizes to help accommodate the needs of people, especially with hidden disabilities like dyslexia, dyspraxia, how that can best support people in the workplace.
So Ben, who's the manager and the owner and the person who started Neurobox, definitely started it with a vision that there was a need in the marketplace for that type of support. Um, so yeah, and he's been proven right because we've gone from strength to strength and we're helping more and more people.
And I think that as well, we've had a chat in other speaker spotlights, it's that gap, it's that people, we like to think we're very disability friendly, but when it comes to a hidden disability like dyslexia, we can't always see what's wrong or what we're struggling with. We have to explain ourselves so much more, and that can face challenges for people because it's like having to constantly explain, you can't see what's wrong, but this is what I'm struggling with every day.
Totally, yeah. And even that explanation isn't easy because, for example, some people with dyslexia, for argument's sake, may find it difficult to sort of verbalize how they're feeling at that moment. People with ADHD, it's not always easy to get what you want across clearly and concisely, and especially when you're having to do it in the moment. So yeah, it's very, very difficult to do that. But I mean, over the last few years, there's been a much better awareness of these things, and certainly in the workplace as well. Um, and that's really where it all has to start. It's about having the conversation, feeling safe, having the conversation, normalizing the conversation, because actually the sorts of things that can support people aren't difficult. What we call workplace adjustments, all those sorts of things, they're not difficult. They're usually really, really straightforward and simple. The difficult part is getting to the point where we're having that conversation in the first place.
Absolutely, and it's starting that conversation, and we're protected by the Equality Act, so companies by law have to make reasonable adjustments, but it can be really difficult for even a manager or a colleague to actually start the conversation and talk about whether they suspect someone might have a neurodiverse condition or vice versa. You want to talk to your colleagues about your dyslexia or any neurodiversity. What would your advice be then, Mark, to starting that conversation perhaps?
Yeah, that's a big question. Um, I think from an organizational point of view, first of all, I think there isn't a magic process or policy that you can put in place. Okay. It's about the process of making or helping people to feel that actually it's safe to have this conversation. And what makes people feel safe is A, they see other people doing it and nothing terrible is happening to them. Okay. They see a general awareness around them and they hear about these conversations taking place. And these are all things that organizations can do um, simply by raising awareness, bringing in managers, even having sort of senior people or managers talk about their own experiences, because there will be managers and senior leaders with
Absolutely.
disabilities and neurodiversities as well. That's a really powerful thing to do. So it's about not only telling people that actually as an organization we want to talk about this stuff, it's a safe place, but it's about actually showing that. Um, Once that starts to happen, um, it can the process can move quite quickly. But expecting the employee to be the one that steps forward first and take those brave first steps into the unknown is a big ask, quite frankly. And that's very often why we don't see that happening until the employee is often left with no choice, i.e., they want a performance improvement plan or something like that. So yeah, I think that's that's really what it's about. It's about creating that environment, isn't it?
Absolutely. And even when it comes to the very beginning of the process, of the job application process, seeing something like a big, can you write a cover letter? That already is like, whoa, I can't do that. You procrastinate, you put it off, you can miss the deadline for it. And that all impacts confidence as well. But even though they say if you need any reasonable adjustments, please do get in touch. A lot of neurodiverse people who want to go for these jobs don't actually end up doing it or disclosing they have a disability. Is that fear what that goes against them in the job interview?
You're absolutely right, and that's part of the awareness, I think, and that's a conversation that we have with organisations all the time is around that because yes, the employee journey with your organisation starts at the job advert, doesn't it? And wording is important. So actually, rather than asking about do you want reasonable adjustments, well, first of all, you're assuming that people know what a reasonable adjustment is. You're expecting them to make the decision about what they need. Is it reasonable to ask for that, or is that not reasonable? I don't know. So language is important. So actually, just not using that terminology and just saying that if there's anything you'd like as part of your interview to support your application, this is how you reach out and get in touch with us, for example, and maybe give a few examples. So there's lots of really simple things that can make a really big difference.
And it's brilliant that you're going to be involved in the Dyslexia Show 2024 because a lot of people, which it is, the Dyslexia Show is great for educators, parents, people who want to know more about dyslexia and neurodiverse conditions, and even with the Dyscalculia Show. But for workplaces, so HR teams, managers, to come along to the Dyslexia Show 2024, it's great to know about how dyslexia and neurodiverse conditions can impact people in the workplace as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah. Um, and yeah, and that's really what it's all about. It's about raising that awareness. So the dyslexia show isn't just for people who've got dyslexia.
And Neurobox does a fantastic job. You do a brilliant job working with these organisations. In the meantime, the show's not till March, which is scary because that'll soon come round. But in the meantime, where can people find out more about you, Mark, and Neurobox?
Okay, so we unsurprisingly we've got a website, neurobox.co.uk. We've got LinkedIn pages. Everything is signposted from our website. So I think probably my advice is just type Neurobox into Google and you'll find everything that you need to know about us. And we love to hear from people. So it's one of those types of things where, although it's nice to have a sort of a menu of offerings for organizations, what we find is that every organization is different. So we're always having conversations about, well, how can we support you in your situation at the moment? Whereabouts are you on the journey and that type of thing? So yeah, talk to us.